whole secret of butchering was that you would follow the seam or the bone as you cut. But if the meat were frozen, then when you stuck your knife in there and you went to move it and you hit ice, it would slip and people would stab themselves. That's how, anyways, people started to get hurt. And I think that's probably what made the big change in the meat industry as far as like skilled butchers as opposed to machinery. Well, they have the big, they have like the big feedlots, and they have all the cattle there, and they kill the cattle, and they bone them out, with machinery. Like I don't even know. I assume they probably still have guys, like that are like cutting the carcasses like right down the middle, and then separating out the the forequarters and the hindquarters and everything. But I think after that, they're probably like immediately frozen for shipping, or they're already they're cry-vac, like vacuum sealed and moved off, and that's kind of the way it works. Because when I was away in school, I know a friend of mine, I think I probably may have mentioned that he stabbed himself in the femoral artery. Yeah, because that's but you wouldn't make a mistake like that unless the meat was frozen. So you're like, you're going to cut down there, and like it takes some strength. But if your knife sleeps, yeah. If your knife sleeps, you got a big problem. If you're asleep and your knife slips, you got a major thing. So I think that's what probably happened with So now saw jockeys. With them, that's like I know them all, like Floyd Mock, Frank Utz, like Teddy Kazmarek. Jesus.
These are all butchers?
All butchers, yeah. Well, it's kind of a trip to see, because that's all they did. And we had like one guy that only cut lamb because nobody wanted to touch lamb, because lamb has like lanolin on it, so you don't. If you work with lamb, I don't know if you probably have touched. Maybe you bought a roast or something of lamb, and you'll notice it gets on your fingers, and then because it has lanolin, it absorbs in your skin, and you're like, oh my God, the smells of and butchers don't like that, so they would. So we had one guy, who only cut up the lambs. But the other guys, talk about skill. Pretty amazing. But that was all before machinery.
Mm-hmm.
And then after machinery, once machinery entered the thing, then it was not we would have guys that spent all day like cutting up rounds of beef, like roast beef. There were two guys like Frank Utz and Teddy Kazmarek. That's all they would do. They would cut up these rounds of beef, which would be basically like a round would be like an animal. It's basically as Teddy Kazmarek used to say, a cow's ass, and you would bone it out, and then it would be a top round and a bottom round, and then like a sirloin butt. And then we had other guys who would just do ribs. They would do ribs or short ribs. Short ribs. A short line would be like where the steaks are all from, and they would cut those up all day. But that is long gone. Now everything is right at the same place where the feedlots are, the slaughterhouses are. Everything gets cry-vacked, vacuum sealed, bang, off to the restaurant. Everybody, it's the way life is. Different thing. But those old guys, they would say like, Jim, the only people we got left now, they're all saw jockeys. They don't know anything. Okay, thanks. I understand. Crazy. I would do. That's the thing. Because my father, his whole thing was, although he never cut any meat, his thing was like, he would say to my brother and myself, he'd say, you should learn how to cut meat because you'll never be out of work. There always will be a job. He was absolutely right. Like when I came back before graduate school, I went to cut meat for like summer, and there was always work. You could just, because of the hotel restaurant supply. So that was true, but I mean, my brother and I both say, I can't believe our father let us work with these guys. I mean, they were bad. I mean, really, like, unbelievable. I mean, the language and the, like the kind of like, who was it? Herman Buffinger. This is a master butcher from Germany. He would ground up all the ground beef. And if you would ask him, here, like a 14-year-old kid, I would say, hey, what do I do with this? He said, if it had hair on it, you know what to do with it. I'd say, this is probably not a discussion we should be getting into at this point. But God love him. I was standing behind him when one day, we were in a big rush. We were trying to put an order out for hamburger patties, and we had to change the plate in the hamburger patty machine. And, Herman was in a big, maybe he had too much to drink during lunchtime or whatever, but they put a new plate in and to change the size of the hamburger patties, and he stuck his hand inside of the hamburger patty machine as the plate came forward. And suddenly he lost 3 of his fingers.
That was smart.
Yeah, that was not good. He was diabetic, so eventually he kind of, they chopped him up slowly but surely, and that was the end of poor Herman.
He met some other butchers.
He met some butchers in the sky. Yeah. He couldn't stop. Yeah, Herman, what a guy.